So let's talk about sales presentation methods. We have already talked about a whole bunch of things having to do with sales, but let's talk about the actual presentation now. Now, as with most things in business, there's no one simple answer to how you should do this. There's a bunch of different ways you can do presentations. We're going to talk about a couple of them here and how they actually fit into different situations. Okay, several different presentation methods you can use. You're usually going to choose one based on either your prior knowledge of the customer. Is this somebody you barely met, as in a cold call, as in you accosted somebody at a mall kiosk? Or are you talking with somebody that you've met several times, somebody you've sold to before, or somebody that you know quite well? What's the objective of the sales call? Is this something where they're going to buy something from you right now? Is it a bigger deal it's going to take months to accumulate? The customer benefit plan all can change what you want to do. Now we're going to talk about 4 different possible things, more grouped into 2 different groups. You have memorized selling. These are the canned presentation, the script presentation that we're so used to. We call that very, very structured. You have formula selling, which is similar to memorized selling, but with a little more knowledge of the person you're talking to. Memorized selling is nice for people you don't even know. You just start up with the script. Formula selling, a little bit more intimate. Need satisfaction selling and problem solution selling are more customized, a little more unstructured, a little more advanced. But you'll see that there's still a process to them. Even though they're unstructured, they're customized, there's still a pattern here. You can still watch it happening. It's fairly fascinating. All right, let's talk about the memorized sales presentation. The important part with these, important not just for quizzes and assignments and things like that, but also in reminding ourselves how to act, is this graphic right here. You have the salesperson talking time is in green, and then the customer talking time is in blue. In the approach, whole bunch of salesperson talking time. Okay, a whole bunch of this. This is the case where you have somebody shows up at your front door, for example, or calls you on the phone. And usually they do not let you talk for the first 30 seconds, right? Hello, sir, I'm here for... And they're going for 30 seconds and you're going, okay, this is going to be bad. Then they ask a question, right? They've done their approach and they say, how are you doing today? Or have you ever had a problem with such and such? And you're going to say something, and then they're going to take over again, blah, 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 all the way through. Then they got some more questions, and hopefully at this point, hopefully for them, you're interested and you have good questions, or you're going to be saying yes again, and you say, yeah, actually I'm kind of interested, and they take over again, all the way through to the close. And hopefully you're scanning a credit card or handing them money. Now, how does this come about? Well, they're called scripts. Okay? Now, just because it's a script does not mean it has to be boring, does not mean it has to be tedious. The best ones, the ones that are well written and well practiced, actually flow very nicely. But we'll talk about one here in just a moment. I'll show it to you. Now, why choose this? It ensures the salesperson is going to give a well-planned presentation. This kind of comes around to this one. Both aids and lends confidence to the inexperienced salesperson. If you're new at this, okay, let's say you're new to selling Kinco, or whatever those Cutco knives, anyway, the knives they go around and show people. If you have something you're not really good at selling yet, you're new to sales, you don't know the product very well, I can just have you memorize a presentation, a script, and you're off and running. Okay? And these scripts are very, very detailed. It's not just say this and then when they ask a question, then answer it. No, it's say this. If they say this, then say this. If they say this at that point, say this instead. If they bring this up, say this. I mean, they're very, very detailed. And again, if they're well practiced and well written, they can flow very smoothly and work out fairly well. People using a script, using it well, are fairly successful overall. It's why telemarketing still exists. But ensures all the salespeople are discussing the same information. If you say, this is your script, this is what you say. There are industries where saying something other than that could be a fairly big problem. So you can say, we're all using the same script. It's all going to sound the same no matter who you're talking to. Both aids and lends confidence, we talked about that one. It's effective when selling time is short. Okay, not a whole lot of audience participation in this one. It's just bam, 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 done. Door-to-door telephone selling, we're not going to spend an hour at somebody's door. We want to spend about 15 minutes tops at a door. 5 is even better. The product type is non-technical. You don't have to explain a whole lot. It's a book. It's a cooking utensil. It's cosmetics. It's something that people are going to look at and say, oh yes, I know how to use a knife. We don't have to go into what this does. I know it's a knife. Now you can try and sell me on whether or not I need one. But you don't have to explain it. That's important. If you have to explain it, the memorized stuff doesn't really work that well. Now, why not to choose the memorized? Why not to use a script? Presents details that may not be important to the buyer. You're talking at somebody and they're going, no, 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 don't talk to me. It also allows for very little prospect participation, okay? Meaning, back up here, whole bunch of salesperson talking, very little customer talking, okay, at the big points. Okay, we only talk a couple of times and then we're hoping that they're not going to just kick us out. So, that's a problem. Impractical when selling technical problems and requires the salesperson to move rather quickly, straight to the close. Bam, 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 bam. And that ends up being a high-pressure selling situation. Okay, we end up feeling like they're pressuring us because they're hurrying through a script, in part because they've only memorized that script, and so they go off script and they're kind of lost. So this ends up sounding like high pressure. I'm at your door, I want to sell you something, I'm saying a script that might not even be in the language I was born with, and let's hurry up and get this done. High pressure. Car sales often employs scripts, though it might be more of the formula. So, for example, look at this. I'm not going to read it all because it would take too long. But if you look through this, hit pause on this video if you'd like, and read through this conversation, and realize that everything except for Mr. Pride, right here, all of this is the script. Okay, my name is Karen Nordstrom. I promise you this person has practiced this over and over and over again. They've drilled it. They have had people check them to make sure they're saying every word correctly over and over and over again, but it does flow. What's on your mind? As a busy executive, you know time is a valuable commodity. Nearly everyone, script. Daimler Electric cart is more than a golf cart. Script. All of this is a script. So we make the script based on what we know people are going to say, except what's on your mind. They might change that just a little bit, but we know what the objections are going to be, and here's something to say about it. It is nice when you have a script that's been tested, it's been proven, it works rather well, and you just have good answers to things. It's kind of nice. Now you can look at that. I believe it's in the PowerPoints in the chapter, so we're going to move on. Formula, sales presentation. Notice how this one moves. Salesperson starts out talking, the customer takes over, some more and more and more time as we start to interact, and then the salesperson takes over as we go down to close. Why choose a formula? You're contacting similar prospects in similar situations. You know more about the customer, you know what they need. You've done this for a while, you know something about them, you've called on them before. This is someone you know. Okay? Back up. You want to have a reasonable amount of buyer-seller interaction. So this is a little more intimate, a little more friendly, but you're still talking about primarily scripted responses. Okay? Why choose it? It allows for smooth handling of anticipated questions and objections. Again, you have something to say here. Most sales have some scripted elements to it where you're saying, most people are going to object to this, and here's how to handle it. Just say this to them. It's better than making it up yourself. Just say this. Consumer goods and pharmaceutical goods work well for this. Ha 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 ha. So, why not to choose the formula sales presentation method? If you don't know the prospect's needs, it's not going to work. If you see a need for the prospect to talk more, meaning it's a little more customizable, you need something a little more customized. If they have a complex selling situation, like a technical problem or to a group. Group dynamics cause issues. All right. You can pause if you'd like to look through this with a formula approach, but I wanted to skip ahead to this one. Need satisfaction or problem solution sales presentations. Look at this one. Okay, customer talking time is huge. Salesperson talking time, small. all the way through, almost through the entire presentation. Your customer is doing the talking through your presentation. That's right, because they are telling you what they need, instead of the reverse where we're saying, as a busy professional, you need this, this, and this, and we're hoping they agree with us. In this case, they're telling us what they need. Then, as happy salespeople who are about to make some money, we're going to take over right in here when they have told us in detail what they need, and we're going to start talking more and more and more as we start to figure out exactly what they need. And you're down here going to be talking about how that is wonderful that you need this, because look at how what I have is going to solve your problem or satisfy that need. It's wonderful, and this is actually the better way to do it. If you think about the experiences that you've had, and again that you shared with me, about your salesperson interactions, the best ones, when people are talking about times when they had a good time with the salesperson, when they had a good experience, the customer talking time was higher. Okay? They asked a question and then they listened. And the customer talking time stays up while you're asking little questions and they're answering them. Okay? And then down here, you're taking over when you have to explain what you're actually doing. So why choose the need satisfaction? You need a flexible, interactive sales presentation. Okay? Need to uncover those needs by asking questions. You need the prospect to talk about his or her needs. Now, using this method the first time you call on a prospect, should you have to come back a second time, you'd use the formula sales. Okay? So you're talking about, how do I figure out what this person actually needs? There are stories, many, many stories, about you'll have a need in a company, and you ask, say, 5 different companies to come and bid on the project or try and sell you on their project or their product. And the first 4 come in and give wonderful presentations and show all the big flashing lights and all this kind of stuff. And the last one comes in and sits there for half an hour asking questions. So what is it that you need in this? Why is this problem coming up? What is it that you're looking for here? And the people who are there to see a presentation end up talking the entire time. And in the end, the salesperson who has been selling the entire time says, you guys have told me that you need this, 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 and this. Now that I know that, I can tell you that my product, my company, my team can provide the solution by doing this, 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 and this. Guess who gets the sale? The one with the big flashy presentation or the one that took the time to get them talking? Yeah, it's the latter one. Okay. So, example of product types: financial services, systems, entire systems, high-priced goods, vehicles, real estate, computer systems, industrial equipment. Stuff that's a little more technical. Something where you're going to show up and say, like those of you who went to a used car lot recently, what is it that you need? Well, I need to take kids around. All right, well, how many kids do you have? Do you usually carry a lot of stuff in the back? How much storage space do you need? What kind of gas mileage are you looking to do? Do you take long trips, or is it just around town? What have you owned before? Well, are you upgrading from something? What about this? Those questions get them involved, and then you can come in at the end to close the sale. Now, why would you not? If you need more control over the conversation. Now, the really good salespeople can use a need or a problem-solving presentation with almost anybody, but there are some customers that you cannot give them that much leeway, or else they'll just talk about other things for forever. They won't stay on topic. Feel they should not ask too many questions. Sometimes the audience, the people you're selling to, don't want you to ask questions. They want to just hear your presentation, in which case you're going to give that to them. Or if you're new to the sales profession, opening this up can easily lead down wrong paths if you do it wrong. It's a little more advanced to do this without the script. Okay? To do that, you're going to develop the need, make them aware that they have the need, and then work on fulfilling it. Now, you can look at that. We're going to go right down to the last one and make our final point, which is the fact that, trying to get back to there. What is the best presentation method? You got to memorize the formula, the need satisfaction, and the problem solution. The salient point here is each of these methods is the best one when properly matched with the situation. If you're going to show up at somebody's front door and you try and do a problem solution situation, If it's not the most patient person on the planet, they're not going to stand out there and talk to you in the cold or in the heat or whatever for an hour while they talk to you about their problems. It's probably not going to happen. If, on the other hand, you walk into a situation that needs a very technical or customized solution and you're trying to do it with a script, well, they're going to know that you're doing it off of the script, know that it's the wrong type of presentation, and they're going to laugh you out of the room if they don't just interrupt you and tell you to leave. So it depends on the situation. It depends on how much you know about the customer, know about their needs, how many times you've met with them before, and how much time you have. Take these into consideration, take your own experience into consideration, and you'll be able to pick the right type of presentation for your customer and for you. That is the end of this presentation. Thank you for listening, and have a good week.